President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered that the producers and providers of the off-spec petrol imported into Nigeria must be held accountable. According to the President's Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President has also directed government agencies to take every step in line with the law of the country to ensure the respect and protection of consumers against market abuses and social injustices. Joining us now from Dubai, United Arab Emirates, to x-ray President Buhari's position on this matter, especially from the point of view of the law, is Damilola Adewuyi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, a Professor of Energy and Environmental Law, and Global Vice Chair of the International Law Association. Welcome to Newsday. So this directive from President Muhammadu Buhari, is it backed by law?
Yes. The president has acted very swiftly, and he has acted in accordance with expectations in international law that the polluters should pay. That is a core principle of international environmental law. The polluter pays. If you are responsible for pollution, then you have to pay the price. So I think Mr. President has acted in accordance with that long-standing principle of law by saying that those that are responsible for the pollution, which in this case will mean those that are responsible for importing off-spec fuel, should face the wrath of the law. So I think that is a that is an important step that the president.
Let's talk about the motorists that have been affected. What are the options that are available to them, given what the president has said regarding ordering service providers to compensate aggrieved consumers? So what are the legal options that are available to motorists and the consumers?
Well, like I mentioned, the expectation in international law is that the polluter pays. So what I will have expected would have been for the government to go a step further by having a compensation commission of some sort that will listen to the claims of those that are affected and provide measures for them to be compensated. It is not enough to just say that the polluters or whoever is responsible should face the wrath of law. What I would expect is for the government to go a step further by establishing a compensation commission or committee of some sort that will listen to the claims of anyone that has been impacted adversely by this, what I would call flagrant disregard of rule of law, and ensure that those who are responsible for the importation face the full wrath of law. That is what accountability is all about. So I think there is a need to demonstrate accountability, not just by words, but by firm actions.
Sorry, my question was really to do with the motorists. What options do you think are available to the motorists? Even from what you said, apart from compensation, what other things can they look to get or gain, especially since they have had some kind of inconvenience as a result of this off-spec fuel?
Well, what they can gain if the right mechanisms are in place is that if, as a result of the fuel, my car is damaged, or as a result of the fuel, because we're talking of fuel that is several percent above the prescribed limit. So if as a result of that, my car has been damaged, then I should be able to get compensation in terms of, who's going to pay for either the cost of fixing my car or the cost of, of getting a new one. So I would expect that aspect in terms of financial compensation. If my car was damaged, apart from financial compensation, I would also like to see a situation in which I can be assured that, this will not happen again, so that, steps are taken to ensure that there will be no repeat of such incident. So the financial compensation is one aspect. Feeling that you are heard and that, government is responding and giving you justice is another aspect.
And that is exactly the question, Mr. Adewuyi. This compensation commission...
Olawi, by the way.
Oh, my apologies. This compensation commission that you speak of, in lieu of it not being created, what are the options for motorists? Who can they go and hold? Is it the NNPC? Is it the federal government? Or is it the stations themselves? And I'm wondering, since you're a lawyer, have you ever seen a situation like this in which a precedent was set where a motorist sues the government for petrol or damage to their vehicles and seen it actually come all the way out for someone to get justice? Is this something that happens in other places?
Oh, yes. In countries where we have very stringent enforcement of law, it happens. And you can, there are many examples. For example, in places like Canada or the United States, when there is an incident of this nature, exactly what will be done is what I've suggested, which is have an independent arm's length committee that will look into the claims. And it is then the responsibility of the company that is responsible, to pay into that commission, and then the commission will distribute the damages. And if you look at for example, the BP oil spill, in the United States in the past, this was exactly the approach that was taken. And in Canada, we've had incidents, not as severe as this, and this was exactly the approach that was taken. So in a case whereby there is no, effort by government to create such a commission. So the question from you is, what should motorists or whoever is impacted, what should they do? Well, what they should do will be to approach the courts. That is why we have the courts. So litigation would be the best option in my view, and we have a wide range of. I will tell you that I've been contacted by a number of them that are now thinking of having a class action to ensure that this incident does not go unnoticed. So that is an option. And my question is, if the government has come out to say that a subsidiary of NNPC is responsible for the importation, then the question would be, is there anyone in this country, or is there any entity in this country that is above the law? Because international law talks about access to justice for all. And whether you're a subsidiary of government, if you're found responsible for an injustice to me, then you have to face the rod. Nobody, no entity, no institution should be above the law.
So, Professor Adewuyi, what about the supplier of this dirty fuel? Are there legal steps that can be taken against the supplier?
Well, there are legal steps that can be taken. Normally, we've had government come out to say that the supplier, government says the supplier are these entities A, B, and C, and the entities A, B, and C have come out to say no. The main supplier is the subsidiary of the NNPC. So that shifting of blame is ongoing. But while that is ongoing, what I would hope, or what I would expect, will be that that entity, that government entity that is responsible, then there is a need for that, independent assessment of their level of involvement or their level of culpability.
Now, Professor, can I interrupt you for a moment? I'm not talking about the importers now. I'm not talking about those who imported the fuel into Nigeria. I'm talking about the entity that supplied the fuel to the importers.
Oh, I see. So that is, at the international level, where they got the fuel from.
Yes.
Well, these are contractual issues, by the way. These are contractual issues. So if, there is a contract between us, maybe an entity in Dubai, to supply fuel to an entity that is bringing it to Nigeria, it's a contractual issue. So it will then be, I would think the right thing to be done is for the entity that is bringing it to Nigeria to then, invoke some of the core dispute resolution provisions in their contract with the entity in maybe the UAE or wherever they got it from. So it's going to be a contractual issue between the two of them, depending on what their supply arrangement is, depending on whether the recourse in that agreement is litigation or arbitration. It's going to be between them based on the existing contract.
So I've heard you talk about independent assessment. So I quickly want to talk about the end users once again, the motorists. Supposing, that the service providers claim that damages done to their vehicles were not, that did not occur as a result of off-spec fuel. What does one do in that circumstance?
Well, so what does one do when there is, if I get the question correctly, what does one do when maybe it is assessed and they say the damage to your car is not because of this fuel?
Exactly.
Is that the question?
That's the question, yes.
Well, that is an issue of expert determination. Okay, it's an issue for experts to determine. And there's a wide range of steps taken in resolving every form of dispute. If I say A and you say B, then independent experts will be called in to look at the claims and determine them what is responsible. But in a normal class action, in a situation whereby 5 or 10 or 15 people are saying the same thing, and experts are called in, then it is always easy to trace the causation chain and say, well, if this is happening to 15, 20, or 100 vehicles, then there is a firm reason for me as an expert to believe that this might be the cause. So those are expert determination issues, and I think in a case whereby a wide range of the community is affected, it will not be as difficult to ascertain causation.
All right, Professor Adewuyi, seeing the situation from your own legal standpoint, from the suppliers to the motorists to the importers, who dropped the ball and what should be done about it?
I think what has happened now, in all honesty, is not totally surprising, because for many years we've been talking about the need to tighten the standards in terms of the quality of fuel imported into Nigeria. You recall that just last year there was a report released by the Stakeholders Democracy Network (SDN) talking about the fact that much of the fuel imported to Nigeria exceed even the EU pollution limit by as much as 204 times. There are reports that have been there, even by other associations and networks, talking about the need to tighten the regulation and ensure that imported fuels are not, off-spec or adulterated. So I think when an incident like this happens, it's an opportunity for stakeholders to take a back step and look at it and say, if there is no requirement to inspect fuel, then we have to then implement such requirements. We also have to specify very clearly, provide very stringent guidelines on the type of fuel that should be imported. So a situation whereby we have important stakeholders, pointing out these issues for years and nothing is being done to address them, then we have incidents like this that I would say thoroughly embarrassing for a country of Nigeria's stature.
All right, then, Professor Damilola Adewuyi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria and Professor of Energy and Environmental Law Association, we thank you very much for coming on the program. Many thanks indeed.